Remember when you need to ask for help. If you're stuck for longer than what it pays, or you're getting close to what it pays, ask for help. Otherwise, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. As far as repair processes go, if you're doing multiple repairs, if you've done a repair 2 times, let's say the first time you looked at it through the repair manual, which is absolutely what you should do, or if you've seen somebody else do the repair, like the guy next to me has done a coolant pump, I say, okay, I seen him do that coolant pump last week. I'm gonna look at the repair manual, see how it's done here. But I'm also gonna ask him, hey, how did you do this? Could you see? Is there any tricks or tips you could give me? Like some cool guys are cool about that. Some guys are gonna tell you to get out of here. So you want to find people that you can rely on, but you also like take your who's done it, take the repair manual, you're gonna do it first time for yourself. Second time you're doing it. A lot of the repairs we do, we're gonna do more than one time. So the second time, what I'm doing is I'm doing my repair and I'm thinking, what corners can I cut? Not in an unethical way or improper way, the part's getting replaced. But how can I do this faster? Do I have to take off this hose? Do I have to take off this bracket? Can I get away with, using a pair of pliers to put that vacuum hose on? Do I really need to take off this whole part in front of it? Like, can you get things done in a way that saves you time and money? Time and helps you make more money. So you're actively seeking out new ways to perform that repair. Now there's things like tires and brakes. Like you really can't get those done faster, and that is just what it is. But those bigger repairs, those, coolant repairs, oil repairs, even like engines, there's multiple ways to do engines. On German cars, you're dropping everything down on the table. Well, this year I figured out that you can pull the front end off of some of these cars, and that engine comes right out the front, and honestly saves you a bunch of time because you're not taking off as much. Yeah, you're taking off the bumper. Yeah, you're taking off the safety member, but you're not lowering the whole thing on down on a big table. Like that's a lot of work. That's a lot of room for error. So it also comes down to is like how are you reducing room for error? Because any errors are going to cause you time. So if you can do that repair faster without taking less things off, you're going to eliminate any room for error and you're going to save yourself time. So you need to actively be asking people, and you need to actively be looking for repairs to get done faster and get that car out. And I always feel good sharing those with other people because then you build trust with other technicians that says, well, Curtis is willing to help me out do this job faster. So maybe next time I see something faster, I'll help him out. And just build that rapport with some good technicians in the shop. Like not everyone's out to get you. Big one here. I'm going to write it massive. Oops. Anyway, quality checks. If you're not quality checking your car, why are you even working on cars? Like not performing a quality check, you're setting yourself up for failure. I know doing long test drives sucks. And if you can get a valet or a porter to do anything over like a 10-mile test drive, 5-mile test drive, whatever the rules are for your dealership, like ask. We have a rule where if it's like anything over 10 miles, usually we can get like a valet to drive it. Sometimes they can't. Sometimes we get overnight test drives, like if for anything over, where some technicians live far away. Like use your resources. Don't just be like, I gotta go drive this car for 20 miles. Yo, that's a long time. So in some circumstances, you will need to do that, but use your resources. Find a valet, see if someone can drive it overnight, or do it do it when there's not traffic. I know that sounds silly, but if you're doing a long test drive, maybe push it off a couple hours till rush hour is over. I mean, depending on where you live, at least sometimes it's always busy or there's always traffic. But just be like smart about when you're doing your test drives because you may not think about it, but saving 5 to 10 minutes on a test drive is 5 to 10 minutes you could be using somewhere else. Don't do a big repair and take it straight to the dang parking lot. You're gonna waste so much time rechecking and relooking at cars. Like if you test drive a car and you find a check engine light comes on and you left the sensor unplugged, like sometimes check engine lights don't come on until you cycle the key 2 or 3 times. So if you take that car, you drive it, you don't bring it back into your bay, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go drive it, drop it in the parking lot, turn the key off. Okay, so that car is now done, and you go back into the shop. So let's say the valet moves it to the drive. Okay, maybe the check engine light comes on then, maybe it doesn't. Let's say it does. Then you're having to pull it back in, stop what you're doing because the customer's there to pick it up, so it's a waiter, and now everyone's bugging you about why is this check engine light on? So now you gotta stop what you're doing, you gotta scan a car, and just to find out that you left the sensor unplugged. It happens, we all make accidents. Okay, scenario 2, that customer goes home and their check engine light shows up in the morning. Well, 1, maybe that customer doesn't want to drive their car, so it gets stuck on a tow truck. Well, that's a tow bill. That's expensive for somebody. Or 2, that customer now is like, well, they just worked on my car and now my check engine light's on. You're going to get a bad survey. And that car is coming back in. You're going to have to scan it. You're going to have to spend more time on it, which then, like I said, takes away from time you could be doing on other things. Find if there's just resolve the concern. Your repair process should not be completed until solid quality check is done. That includes a test drive, and that includes cycling the key. If you did something with the check engine light, scan it again. Make sure that fault's not coming back as sporadic. If it comes back 2 or 3 times, it may not show up on the dash, but it's going to show up eventually. Please quality check your car. If you need a good quality check process, we can come up with one. I'll just go over mine real fast to save you the time. So let's say I just completed coolant intrusion, very common on Audis and Volkswagens, any of that type of motor. So I just did coolant intrusion, perform my coolant bleed test plan, because sometimes air bubbles hide in that system. Takes a lot longer, but it should be part of your process. So I did that, make sure my fluids are topped off. I'm always cleaning my engine bays. I have a little degreaser, spraying it in the engine bay. We have a pressure washer, go pressure wash it, make it look clean. If you don't have a pressure washer, take a rag, wipe some stuff down, use your brake clean, don't leave a mess. Because sometimes people will get home and there'll be oil on their driveway or coolant. They're like, why is there coolant? Bring my car back in. Oh, I just didn't clean it down very well enough. Okay, that's going to be part of your quality check process. Cleaning your car up, making sure it looks clean. Customers pop the hood and they see a spick-span engine bay. Like, whoa, man, this guy went above and beyond to clean my engine bay, whether you were in there or not. Let's say you only did a tire rotation, or you only did electric diagnosis. Like, clean the engine bay. It looks clean. It's good for your quality check process. And like it just builds that trust. So after I'm cleaning it, I'm test driving it. Like 5-10 miles. You know, some circumstances, like if it's just an oil change and some minor concerns, and I didn't do anything with like the drivetrain or anything like that, like sure, I'll take it to the car wash or to the parking lot. But can it be QC'd in my bay? Can it be QC'd before I get there? Like do an oil change, is it leaking well or not? That's your quality check. So after I take that, let's do a test drive. I'm bringing the car back in. I'm looking at exactly what I repaired. Everything that came off, I'm checking to make sure that there's no leaks, there's no funny smells. Like even if you sprayed it down and there's a funny smell, to you and I may not mean anything. It's just burned off oil, okay? But to the customer, they get home and they smell burning oil. They're not going to think the same thing. They're going to be like, well, what the heck? Now to bring my car back in, now you got to clean it again. More time wasted. So you're double checking exactly the work that you did. If you did anything with suspension or alignment on that test drive, you need to be making sure that the car drives straight, that the steering wheel straight. Like even if they have bad tires, or let's say their suspension's worn out, do everything in your power to make that car drive better than when it came in. So after I pull the car in, I'm checking it over, making sure everything's good. Sometimes on big repairs, especially interior work, if I haven't done it before, I'm gonna ask somebody to look it over. Like if I'm in there messing with the headliner and I'm all done, kind of done with this car, and maybe I didn't put in that extra time to clean it or to look it over, it happens. Get your group leader, get your shop foreman, get another son, like, hey man, I just did this interior work, do you mind looking at it for me? Let's go around with a flashlight, check all your interior, check for fingerprints, check for smudges, check for seals that aren't, you know, overlapping properly, make sure everything's snapped in, working properly. If you're doing anything with like operational components, you're checking that, making sure door handles work, making sure, you know, the MMI screens or the video screens are working, making sure headrests or whatever you're doing, making sure that component works multiple times before you release it to the customer. So after all said and done, I'm usually not closing my ticket out until I've parked that car in the parking lot, because under some rare circumstances, let's say you close that ticket out and you drive it to the parking lot and the check engine light's on, or you know, oh man, maybe that squeak is back. Then you got to go find out, tell the customer, tell the service writer, hey, this car's not actually done, even though you close it out. So please don't close your tickets out until you're done. If you're waiting on like quotes or something, like leave one line open, but get it done. Get that car done and ready to go before you finish out your lines. I like to keep track of all my quotes. Now I'm on a computer, so it's a lot easier for me. If you're not on a computer and you're still doing a paper RO system, this is going to be very hard for you. And quite unfortunate actually, because having the computer is very handy. You can put a lot of things in a Word document. You can also keep track of your common repairs for CDK or whatever program you're using. I only ever use CDK, so that's all I know. So if you're doing a repair more than twice, maybe more than 3 times, a recall, a TSB, whatever the case is, put it in your Word document, write out a good story, write out a good repair, copy paste it into a Word document, and obviously you might have to modify it for the next car, but why type up 3 sentences every time when you can copy paste it and change 3 words? So really good habit to save some time is to keep track of all your quotes, keep track of all your repairs, write them down, keep them down, and apply them to the next car where that's similar. Just about some good habits that I'm using that help me get through the day a little bit better. Like I said, this is going to sound silly in the scheme of things, but every second matters. And if you accumulate enough seconds, you're going to get to a minute. If you accumulate enough minutes, you're going to get to an hour. So if you can save a few seconds on everything over the whole day. I mean, that does add up and it seems a little like minuscule, but I'm just thinking about what I'm doing as far as where I'm walking around the shop, or if I'm going to the computer, or if I'm going to the car, to my toolbox. What are some things that I could do at the same time as I'm doing those? Like if I'm working on a repair and I need to get out my 12 millimeter socket, but I also know that after that 12 millimeter socket, I'm going to need a 10 millimeter socket. Well, if I know the repair and I've done it before, I'm going to grab both. And I'm going to grab the tools that I need. If I didn't set them out, sometimes it happens. If I didn't set them out, I'm working on the tools, or if I see the repair manual has told me to take off this component and then this component, well, I know that what tools I need for the component that comes after. I'm going to go to my toolbox and I'm going to grab everything I need in one fell swoop. If you, like I said, if you haven't set that up already, just think 2 steps ahead of every process. Think 3 steps ahead of every process. Previously mentioned, like going to the bathroom and going to the parts at the same time, it's the same thing. If you're going somewhere to do something at work, is there anything else you can do on the way? Like, can you grab more brake clean? Can you grab gloves? Can you grab parts for your next job? Can you talk to, if you need to go talk to one of the riders, what are you doing there and on the way back? You know, it's all about using those extra few steps to your advantage. And it's very important that you consciously think about these things such as you can continue to do them and that you can continue to refine them. Because if you're not actively searching, I mean, that's the whole purpose of this, right? Is we're actively searching for ways that we can reduce time in other areas and focus on what it is we want to do, and that's to make more money.